Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we're about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 906. Please turn to it. Page 906, and today is our lesson number 128. Let's see what we have there. First problem, number 11, it says, what's the radius of a circle that has a circumference of pi? Circumference we know equals 2 times pi times r, and we are told the circumference of this particular circle equals pi. And the question is, how much is r? So we have to solve for the radius here. Let's divide both sides by 2 pi. Let's divide this side by 2 pi. Let's divide this side by 2 pi. And this 2 pi will cancel out with this 2 pi. And r equals this quantity. Pi appears on the top, pi appears on the bottom. So pi drops out. It turns out that the radius is half. The radius of this particular circle is half, which is just as well, because if you were to try it out here, circumference equals 2 times pi times r, which is 1/2. And this 1/2 that you see there, 2 at the bottom, this 2 at the bottom will take out this 2 at the top. And as you can see, circumference equals pi, or 1 times pi, which is pi. Number 12. That's it, we're done with this one. Number 12. In number 12, we are told y is directly proportional to x squared. Now listen, before we worry about y being directly proportional to x squared, let's first understand what it means for two variables to be directly proportional. For example, if we were told that a is directly proportional to b, if a is directly proportional to b, we may have something like this. We may have observations like this: a and b, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and b might be 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. When a is equal to 1, b is equal to 3. When a is 2, b is equal to 6. When a is 3, b is 9. When a is 4, b is 12, and so on and so forth. Do you see a relationship here? As we can clearly see here, b is always 3 times the a. So the relationship that we'll arrive at is that b is always 3 times a. And in this situation, we say these two variables are said to be directly proportional. Directly proportional simply means that when one goes up, the other one goes up. When one goes down, the other one goes down. In other words, two variables are said to be directly proportional when they move in the same directions. They both go up and they both go down together, as opposed to inversely proportional. If the two variables are inversely proportional, in that scenario, when one variable goes up, the other one goes down, and when one variable goes, and vice versa. So they move in the opposite direction, and that's called inversely proportional. Here they are directly proportional. And this 3 that you see here, this 3 that we see there from this example here, that 3 is called proportionality constant. It is called proportionality constant. We need to find that proportionality constant for this relationship between y and x squared. Unless we find the proportionality constant between y and x squared, we will not have the equation that we need in order to answer the question that is being asked. The question is, how much is x when y is 9/2? Well, we cannot figure out what the value of x is when y is 9/2 unless we have an equation that relates x and y. So let's find the proportionality constant first. And how are we going to find that? Because they give us an observation. They tell us that when y is 1/8, x is half. So we're going to put it in here. So here, y, we're done with this part, so I'm going to erase this thing here. So the relationship here would be y equals some proportionality constant times x squared. This k here is our proportionality constant. For example, here in this example, the proportionality constant turned out to be 3. There exists a constant here. The reason why it's called constant is because that's what it is. That number, that quantity remains constant. It does not change. Every time x and y change, that number does not change. It is constant. It does not change. It does not vary. It is called proportionality constant. And we're going to find that by making use of the fact that when y is 1/8, when y is 1/8, we are told that x is 1/2. And this is x squared, so it's 1/2 squared. 1/2 squared is 1/4. So it's k times 1/4 equals 1/8. We are interested in finding the value of k. So let's multiply both sides by 4. And 4 drops out here. And we find that k equals 4/8. So divide top and bottom by 4, we end up with 1/2. Turns out that the proportionality constant in this case is 1/2. Proportionality constant is 1/2. So now we have our equation. Our equation would be y equals k times x squared. K we know now is half. So it's half times x squared. And now we can answer the question that is being asked. The question is, what is the positive value of x when y equals 9/2? So let's put it here. Y equals 9/2, 1/2 times x squared. Well, a 2 appears in the bottom here, 2 appears at the bottom here. If we were to multiply both sides of the equation by 2, the 2 will drop out, this 2 will drop out, and we'll find that x squared equals 9. If x squared equals 9, that in turn implies that x could be either positive 3 or negative 3. Because both positive 3 and negative 3, when you square them, they turn out to be 9. So which one is it here? Is x equal to positive 3 or is x equals to negative 3? Well, the answer is x equals to positive 3 here because of the fact that we are told, we are being asked what is the positive value of x, to make no mention of the fact that negative number does not even appear in the answer choices. So x equals 3. So we are not interested in negative value, we are interested in positive value, x equals positive 3. And that answer choice is D. That is D. Let's move on then, number 13. Problem number 13. In problem number 13, we are told that 4 times x equals 6 times u, which we are told equals 5 times v, which we are told equals 7 times w. And the question is, which of the following is true? And they have given these 4 variables to us, u, v, x and w, x. What's the alphabetical order? U, v, w, x. That's right. They've given us these 4 variables u, v, w, x in different arrangement, in different orders in the 5 answer choices. And our job is to find the right order from however they are arranged. Let's do it, shall we? Well, the simplest thing that we can do here, the first step that we must do here, is to actually arrange these in order. I see 4 times x, then I see 6 here. Let's put 4, then 5, and then 6, and then 7. It will make our life easier. So 4 times x equals 5 times v, which in turn equals 6 times u, which in turn equals 7 times w. Okay, watch what happens. Let's look at this part separately here. If 4 of something must equal 5 of something else, then that implies that x has to be more than v. X has to be more than v. For example, 4 times 5 x is 5 here, can equal to 5 times 4. As you can see, x is 5 and v is 4. X has to be more than v, because only 4 of the x's can take down 5 of the other guy. So x must be bigger than v. Let's move on then. So here we find that x is more than v. We go to the next one. We find that 5 of v equals 6 of u. If only 5 of these guys can take down 6 of these, that means v must be more than u. And again, if you want a numerical example to see it, if you want a numerical example to understand it, then you can put in 5 times 6. If v is 6, then 6 times 5 would be the w, because they are both equal. And you can see here, v equals 6 and u equals 5, which means v is more than u. v is more than u. Let's move on. Finally, we find that 6 times u equals 7 times w. Well, if 6 of one guy takes down 7 of the other, you get the idea by now. It implies that u must be more than v. Again, 6 times 7, u must be 7. And, well, we shouldn't say u must be 7. U could be 7 and w could be 6. Because 6 times 7 would equal 7 times 6. As you can see here, u would be 7 here in this case and w would be 6. That's one possibility. We do not know if it's actually true or not, but what we do know is that u, whatever it is, it's got to be more than w, because only 6 of u's can take down 7 of w. So u is more than w. So let's put it here. U is more than w. That's it. This is our answer. This is our answer. The only difference is that in the answer choices, they do not go from the biggest number to the lowest number. Here we have x is greater than v, v is greater than u, and u is greater than w. We have them written down in descending order. We start from the largest number and we go to the smallest number. We are going down in a decreasing order, in a descending order. The answer choices are expressed in ascending order, in the increasing order. No big deal. You're going to write the same thing in the reverse order. So w would have to be less than u. If u is more than w, then w would have to be less than u. If v is more than u, then u would have to be less than v. If v is less than x, then x would have to be more than v. That's it. This is the answer. Go through all 5 answer choices slowly and find the one that works. As a matter of fact, now that I look at the answer choices, we don't even have to go slowly. The very first letter that we need is w. The only answer choice which has the w as the very first letter is D. That's the only answer choice which has a w in the beginning. That's it. That's your answer. But don't try to plug in numbers here. Don't try to do this problem by plugging in technique, because to find the numbers that work for these 4 equations here would be pure hell, because you have to find some common multiplier of these numbers, 4 and 6 and 5 and 7. 4 and 6 actually have a common factor of 2, but 5 and 7 have nothing in common. So that's right there is a 35. And here 6 and 4 will be 2 and 3, so you're going to end up with 6 times. You're going to end up with 12 times 35. It's going to be a very large number. Don't try to plug in something here. It'll be, as I said, it's going to be very difficult to find some exact number that actually hold these 4 equations. We're not interested in finding out what their exact values are. We're just interested in finding the right order. And this is it. The answer is D. Number 14. Number 14. The very last one on the page, number 14. It says, let the function h be defined as a function of t, which is 2 times t cubed minus 3. And we are told that the value of the function equals negative 60 at some value of t. And the question is, what's the value of, what is the value of 2 minus 3t? This is what we are interested in, 2 minus 3t. But let's not worry about trying to figure out what 2 minus 3t is. In order for us to answer that question, we first have to find out what the value of t is. If the value of the function is negative 60, then what must be the value of t? Well, if this guy is equal to negative 60, what must be the value of t that will hold this equation? And that's what we are interested in. So let's do that here. So 2 times t cubed minus 3 equals 60. Equals 60. Or rather negative 60, isn't it? I messed it up, didn't I? Equals negative 60. And negative is very important here. It is equal to negative 60. Let's divide both sides by 2. 2 drops out and we end up with t cubed minus 3 equals negative 30. Negative 60 divided by 2 is going to give us negative 30. Let's add 3 to both sides. And we find that t cubed, negative 3 and a positive 3 is going to drop out. T cubed equals negative 27. T cubed equals negative 27. So what value of t will satisfy that statement? The cube of what number do you suppose equals negative 27? That's the tricky part. You know the cube is 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9 and 9 times 3 is 27. But that will be the positive 3. Here we have negative 3. And therefore this implies that t must be negative 3. Why? Because negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, and positive 9 times negative 3 equals negative 27. So t is equal to negative 3. That's it, we are almost there. Now we can answer that question. The question was, what's the value of 2 minus 3t? We can do it right here. 2 minus 3t, t we found out is negative 3. So 2 and this negative and this negative will become positive. So we end up with positive. 3 times 3 is 9, and there you go. The quantity that they're looking for equals 11. The answer is 11, and that's answer choice B. And that's answer choice B. That's it, we're done. I will see you tomorrow, or we'll continue on the next page, page number 907. And now the problems are going to get a little bit difficult, a little bit hard. As we approach the end of the section, they're obviously going to begin to get a little bit difficult. And by the time we get to the last two, we get into a very nasty area. But we'll handle it. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.